Okay. Eric Arnold back here in the sports barn, Friday the 22nd of May. Pretty sure that's the date. Hey, it's about 1:45 here in the afternoon. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to get this up on the internet before this very first game in Wrigley Field kicks off. We're trying. We're just not able to. We haven't been able to shift our sleep cycle such yet where we get these videos up earlier. Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, once we get the videos up earlier, we might actually have more than 6 viewers. Another winning day yesterday in old business. It was a light card. We were 3 out of 5. We narrowly missed on the Mets-Nationals game. Pretty much the Yankee-Blue Jay game went precisely the way we told you it was. Blue Jays winning 2-0. The Braves much the best down in Miami. And then I guess we got, we split the night games to give us 3 out of 5. So, and of course we tried to be clever on the run line in Phoenix and lost by 1 run. You know, if we had just had the balls. I think I looked this up one time and it was stark that playing the run line doesn't pay off, or at least in my betting in the old days, 3 years ago, I kept pretty good records, and I did some number crunching and analysis and what have you, and pretty much what I discovered was just lay the money, just nut up and lay the money, and it'll pay off. You know, in other words, what happened to me last night was a reminder. This is what happens when you're a pussy and don't play just straight up, because a lot of times these games where you have a queasy feeling on it, they end at 1 run. They do end up at 1 run, and usually you end up in the driver's seat because your team's so much better than the other team, and you lose. You know, I had to win by 2 last night, and they had their chances. I saw some of that game. They just couldn't get that big hit in the late innings. They had guys all over the base pass because Colorado's terrible, and they've got a guy in there walking the ballpark, but they just couldn't get that extra base hit to give them 3-4 runs. So, reminder there. But that aside, we're dialing in. I think since last, we got off to our first. We just buried ourselves in the first 2 days just because I haven't done this in 3 years, so we're just way off. But we're dialing it in. I mean, I think we're plus like 6 or 7 units in the past week. So we're coming on. It won't be long till we're, ready to bet real money and just get at it. For those of you that are new, I'm trying to make a video at least 6 out of 7 days right now. We're trying to bet every game on the card. I keep using that word. Pick a game I don't want you to get the impression I'm actually putting my money on every one of these games. I'm picking every game on the card simply as an academic exercise, just to see if I can do it, to see if I can be plus at the end of the year, and to give you a reason to be here, because you know that I'm going to spend at least 15 to 30 seconds, if not more, talking about your team. So there. Hello. Let's do it. Let's get at it. Astros, Cubs. I love the Cubs in these Friday day games. I think the numbers, for the most part, bear it out that the Cubs are value here. It's just a weirdo time. Nobody else plays these type of games. A Friday day game, nobody plays that type of a game except at Wrigley Field. So the Cubs have an advantage there. What was one of the first things I told you in these videos? Routine Routine leads to success. You need a routine. You gotta have a routine. I'm building my routine right now for handicapping, and we're getting there. We're dialing it in. Well, the Cubs have a routine for Friday at 1:20 Central Time, and the other teams don't. So that's why they have success. That's why they're going to have success today. The Astros are a bad team, although they are throwing probably the best pitcher. But we still like the Cubs. Plus, coming off that just ass kicking against, and by ass kicking, I mean they were the ass. They weren't the kicker. They were the kicky. They're better. They're superior. They're master. The Brewers pounded them at home in Wrigley Field. So I think they've had a day to think about that. So I'm thinking they're ready to kick some. They're ready to be the kicker today and not the kicky. We'll take the Cubs. Cardinals, Reds. This is Kyle Leahy versus Chris Paddock. What is Chris Paddock doing favored over anybody? I don't know. He's not a good pitcher. And I have no idea why he's favored today. I don't know. It just feels like an easy one to me. Kyle Leahy's he's one of those guys you've never heard of, but manages to go out there and not get killed and does it quietly, so you never really see who was out there. You just see a W. Yeah, who pitched today? Who started? I don't know. Some guy who went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs. Yeah, we won. I don't know. That's that guy. I have a guy, on my fantasy team named Nathan Church, and he plays for the Cardinals. And the little blurb today said, well, they may have to disable this guy. He has general soreness. General soreness? What is this guy, like 28, 29, 30 years old? General soreness. Give me a fucking break. Try being my age, dude. That's just called every day if you're 60 years old like I am. Holy cow, general soreness. My God. So, whatever. He wasn't that important to him anyway, so I'm not that worried that Nathan Church might not play today. We'll take the Cardinals. Phillies, Indians. The Indians, I know, Guardians, whatever. Both terms are used synonymously here in the sports barn. Why is that? Because it's my sports barn. And if I want to use the word Indians, I'll use the word Indians. They've been playing really well. They're starting to pull away a little bit, get a little bit of a arm's length lead in the AL Central. Somebody called that the equivalent of the NFC South. I forget who said that. If it was AJ Hinch or somebody like that said that. Yeah, sure, maybe. I don't know. The Phillies are throwing their great man tonight, Christopher Sanchez, the best pitcher you've probably never heard of. This guy he does nothing but win. The Phillies are trying to do me a favor by letting my guy Ranger Suarez go. And it was a painful thing, and I'm sad, and I really still say it's the wrong thing that they should have just paid the guy, because he was a postseason killer, as well as performed pretty well in the regular season. But as good as Ranger is, Christopher Sanchez has just been out of this world, and I don't know if I have myself appreciated it as much as I should have. I'm pretty sure no one has. This guy, we're going to take the Phillies tonight at this crazy, stupid high price. And the reason why, when he throws it home, the Phillies win like 80% of those games. 80%, that's the equivalent of, I believe, a minus 400. At minus 77, what that's saying is the Phillies have a likelihood of about, 63%, 63. So there's a pretty big gap there. And I think that's where the value is. That line should, crazily enough, simply be higher. The Phillies don't score a lot. They've got some just complete dead weight in their lineup, but so do the Indians. I mean, the Indians aren't exactly the 27 Yankees when it comes to run production. I'm nervous. I don't think Schwarber's been out. He's missed 4 straight days. He's probably going to go 0 for 4. But I think the Phillies still might get this game, 3-2 or something. So we're going to ride the great man. He does not give up runs, especially when he's at home. Christopher Sanchez, Gavin Williams will take Christopher Sanchez. Yankees. Garrett Cole is back, thank God. My God, thank God for that. Garrett Cole back in the majors. What are you, some kind of Garrett Cole lover? Well, he's on my fantasy team. And we're in first place, if you can believe that. My fantasy team is in first place. I'm not very good at fantasy baseball, but I'm in first place this year, baby. Well, as of, me talking right now. The guy that can't lose, he's 1 game behind. The aforementioned Jason. He ought to have, he calls his team the Morons, which is like a oxymoron because he's anything but a moron. But he ought to have like that Jason mask, like, that, because he scares the shit out of all the other fantasy owners because he always wins. I digress. Garrett Cole back, not good for the Yankees because he's going to be short. He's probably not going to be good. And they're facing the team that's playing the best in the American League right now is the Tampa Bay Rays. And we're getting a plus 129 on the best American League team. Why would I not be on the Rays again? What on earth would make me want to do something other than take them? If Garrett Cole goes out there and throws 8 innings and strikes out 15 guys, well, then he is a daisy. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's more like 4 innings, give up 3 runs, and all right, very good. Rome wasn't built in a day. I just said that, but it applies in both cases. I think that's an easy one. So we'll take Tampa there. We won with Toronto. What did I tell you? We were going to fade them all year. Last night I picked them and they won. It's like, wow, we're really tuned in here with Toronto. Well, we're going to fade them again now. You get 1 day in a row, Toronto. That's all you get. I don't like Kevin Gausman. I think you pay stupid high prices for him. He doesn't win that often compared to what you got to pay. Pittsburgh's pretty good. I hate that, they're idiots in that, O'Neal Cruz in center field is just stupid. That's just malfeasance on a major league level. He doesn't belong out there. He's an awful defender. I'm sure he's cost them games already. But they have so much talent, and they're so good pitching-wise, starting pitching-wise, almost despite themselves. These guys are above 500. Every day that Connor Griffin plays, he's just going to get better and better. I think we just have to go here with a pretty decent price on the Pirates. Bubba Chandler is, at any point, this guy could turn into the next big thing. He's got that kind of stuff, but he just hasn't been able to dial it in yet. He walks too many guys, and he's usually short because he's not efficient with his pitches. We'll take a shot. We'll take a shot tonight with him. I think that's where the value is. Red Sox, Twins. Hey, we were right. Were we not right? I mean, the Red Sox, we said Monday, we had that epiphany as I was standing right here, right in this very spot, that the Red Sox were about to find a thing. And they did. They swept the Royals. And now they're coming home, and they're facing a not very good Twin team. let's see if they can keep it going. This is a big spot for them in that, minus 150, that's, you're laying some wood, and you're below 500. It's like, do you deserve it? I don't know. That's a pretty high price. We're going to back them. We're going to back them. Minnesota's nothing special. Both pitchers, young guys, have done pretty well for themselves. Peyton Tolley and Connor Prelip. But we're going to say that Boston is able to keep it going at least for one more night. I don't love that game. I'm certainly not in love with that game. I like this one all right. Mets, Marlins. The Mets are starting to play better. Getting some young blood in there, I think, was exactly what they needed. Getting some excitement on that team. That team's just trying to hold the fort until the cavalry comes. The cavalry in this metaphor is Francisco Lindor and, Luis Robert. He's in there. Is he Robert or Robert? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I don't even know if that guy's going to help him. He's allegedly this super talented guy that was buried on a bad White Sox team and never. I'm starting to think that he's in other words, the L's just seem to follow that guy around. He left the White Sox and suddenly they're playing pretty well. So that's I don't know. Anyway, Bo Bichette, when is that guy going to start playing like a major league starter? Who knows? But I think it's starting to come for the Mets. I think it's starting to come where they're going to have a home field advantage down there tonight. In Miami, where there's about 6 Marlin fans, hey, I know that there's going to be more than 6 Met fans on just one airplane flying down to Miami. And we like the Mets there at a very nice price. 2 very disappointing teams here. Detroit, come on, Detroit. Now, I keep thinking that this is a good team, and I'm thinking to myself, if you put together what they've done in the beginning of this year and tack it on to the end of last year, they're probably one of the worst teams in the league. They had a huge lead last year, and just, honestly, I can't remember what happened. If the Indians caught them, or if Detroit ended up in some playoff, one of the 3-game playoffs and they lost. I'll have to look that up just because nobody remembers when you lose in one of those 3-game playoffs. It's like you were never in it. And I think that's what happened to Detroit, but I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. No Skubal, no Gilbert Torres, no Kerry Carpenter. I can rattle that off because all 3 of those guys are on my fantasy disabled list. There's probably some other dudes that are more important that are missing. It's a mess right now. I don't know, Baltimore's playing very well either, but I like Baltimore just a little better. Who's pitching tonight for Baltimore? Chris Bassett. He's one of those guys that seems to win more than you expect him to. Anyway. Okay, interesting game here. We got Washington, Atlanta. I think Atlanta, when we like playing the big, how to say this, we like playing against the teams that are got the big leads, the big records. We like playing against them when they're at home. Kind of feels like when they're on the road, they're still into it. But at home, a lot of distractions. We got a big lead. Maybe now's a good time. The wife wants me to clean the gutters. Okay, I'll do that, or whatever. And whatever other projects your family wants you, the baseball player, to get involved in while you're home. And it just feels like maybe they take their focus off just a little bit because it's a very long season. But if you got a 7, 8, 9, 10 game lead, maybe I could kick a game or 2 and not be at my level focused best, and no one will know. big price, especially for a team that scores. I expect, Bryce Elder's pitched pretty well, but yeah, all right. I'm not buying Bryce Elder is just going to lock the Nationals down and they're going to get shut out. I think the Nationals are going to score some runs. The only question is, will the Braves match them? They probably will, but you never know. So what a tasty price that is, plus 182. I went back and forth on this next game. Back and forth, back and forth. And, the Royals, I had Seattle circled, and I'm like, why? Why did I do this? We're dialing in here, and we're going to go ahead and gut this one. We're going to say the Royals. We're going to say the Royals. I think it's too soon to bury this team. This team has talent. I don't know why they're playing so poorly. I really don't. But they say never try to catch a falling knife, and I guess that's what we're doing. I don't know I'd put my real money on this game. But I'm just hunching this one. I kind of feel that the Royals, Perez is starting to hit a little better. He's such an anchor for that team. When he's hitting home runs, they're half a threat. And Bobby Witt's one of the best players. I mean, he probably is the best player in baseball. They just need to get somebody to help him. Seattle, they're just so right now. Yeah, I don't know what else to say because I don't have a real good feel on that one. Another game I don't have a real good feel on. The Colorado was so close to Arizona last night that I feel like it's worth a throw. Looking at who's pitching here. Yeah, Tomoyuki Sugano and Mike Soroka. I don't love that one either. That one, it just feels like, again, that number's set where I think it's almost like shit. So this is set pretty much where it should be, and makes it hard to get a winner. Now this one I like a lot. What is his first name? Is it Justin? Justin Robleski for the Dodgers, and Henderson. I think it's Logan Henderson, I believe. The Dodgers did pretty much what we thought they'd do when they go down to San Diego. They went down there, team that's pretty much has the same record as them in the division, and they just did what they do. They took 2 out of 3 and told San Diego, we're the 2-time defending champion. We're the best team in baseball. You're not. And that's how that goes. And that's what they're going to do here. They're going to go into Milwaukee. They're almost certainly going to get 2 out of 3 games in Milwaukee and just serve notice. It's like, look, we'll lose when we're bored and we're not interested. But that's not tonight. We're interested in making sure you know who we are and we're the best team. And I think that's what will happen there. We feel really good about that one. 16 asterisks, Mr. Turner. That's what my uncle, the history teacher, used to say when he would come upon an important point in class that very likely was going to be on the test. So rather saying that this point's going to be on the test, he would say 16 asterisks, Mr. Flum, and or Mr. Turner, and or Mr. X, and there you go. So 16 asterisks on that one. Happy DeGrom Day. Hey, this is another one that price is, I hate that price. But I don't want to bet on the Angels. I hate the Angels. I hate that team. It's a terrible team. We beat them 2 out of 3 times, though, with the Athletics. So I was happy about that. I'm finally starting to dial that team in. I just, I hate betting against them every, blind squirrel occasionally finds a nut. So are the Angels going to beat Jacob deGrom and the Rangers? Is this another run line deal? Should we do that and just go? Oh gosh, didn't I just say not to do that? I guess I did. All right. Feel like an idiot because I just do. But oh well, that's probably a pretty square pick, but we're gonna do it. This is an interesting game, at least for me. Davis Martin is on my fantasy team, and he has carried us. I was looking at who this guy is. He's probably got the best stats of any American League pitcher right now. I guess he's got, 9, maybe 10 starts so far this year. ERA under 2. I think he's got 5 wins. It's incredible. He's like 29 years old. He's never had a really great year before. You could probably make the argument he's never had a good year. It's like, this guy's going to turn into a pumpkin. I mean, he doesn't have the pedigree. It's going to happen. This guy's going to turn into a pumpkin. I guess I'm not going to bet against him, though, until it does happen. Really, the time for it to happen would have been last start against the Cubs. You got a full house there. Half of the people there are yelling against you and rooting for the other team, even though it's your own home stadium. And your team is expecting you to do something that you've usually not been able to do, is like carry a team. And here you go out and do it. That's, to me now, you got to say, if you got over that, then, Friday night in San Francisco should be a walk in the park. So let's see if you can keep it going. I'm not, this last game I don't have a feel for really at all. In fact, for whatever reason, it's not even in my notes. Trying to remember. Jeffrey Springs versus Walker Buehler. That's what it is. Oh, goodness. You know what? We're going to go with the A's. They've won 2 in a row. They're starting to feel better about themselves. I think, and, the A's are that's a team that's going to be, there's good days ahead if they keep that team together, and I see no reason why they wouldn't. They're all cheap. They're going to Las Vegas in a couple of years, so they should be able to keep this core of the team together, and really I see the A's as sort of a future good American League team for a number of years. So, yeah, I don't really see a reason not to play them here. Let's go ahead. You're getting a decent price, too, and the pitcher for the Padres, he ain't great. And he's going to be short. Now, the Padres have a great bullpen, but he's going to be so short that you might be able to, get one of those hittable guys in the Padres pen. There you have it. I feel okay about this. I tell you what, Saturday seems to be our day, and I'm sure tomorrow I'm going to feel really good about some of these picks for Saturday. Yeah, we like the Dodgers. I think we're getting good value there with the Nationals. We love Tampa. Like St. Louis playing against Paddock. The rest, we like the Mets. We'll see what happens. Let's see if we can keep it going. Just so we don't have another one of these, like, giant reversal nights. that it takes us a week to dig out from under one of these -5 unit nights. Let's keep the momentum going forward. I think 3 years ago, we had some stretches where we would go 12, 13 days and not lose. I mean, we would just pick up a unit every day, just boom, boom, boom. That's what I'd like to get back to. I mean, I'm trying to think what our percentages were at the end of that season. It was pretty healthy. I mean, I felt pretty good about myself. We were knocking them dead at like a 5%, 5 or 6% return on investment. We were doing good. So I think we can get it back. Why not? I'm just older. I'm older, but I'm not. I hope I'm not dumber. That's what I'm hoping. We'll talk again.